More or less any lead that comes into the business is going to be via a form of some kind, and the AI Lead Management Accelerator is able to connect to pretty much any form solution out there that has an API available. In this case, we're mocking things up with a simple HubSpot form, but we can connect to pretty much any CMS form, whether that also things like LinkedIn lead gen forms, webinar tools, that kind of thing. We're just going to put some simple dummy details in and submit the form. And then very shortly, we should be seeing a lead pop up in Slack for attention of the sales team. So the lead has now arrived into Slack. We can see the notification. And from the simple 5-field form that we submitted, you can see that the lead has now been enriched. What has also happened in the background is that the email address domain has been checked against a known list of over 4,000 free email providers, so we can validate that it's a work email. If that's required, if that isn't part of your process, that element can be taken out of the overall workflow. So we can see now that we've got RevOpsLab has submitted a lead, that they're in the consulting industry, that they're based in Birmingham. We can see some information about employee size. In this case, revenue hasn't pulled through. And we can decide whether we're going to accept or reject the lead. In this case, we're going to accept it. So we can see now that we've immediately had a response back from the system. Thanks for accepting the lead. The contact wait list from RevOpsLab has been updated in CRM, and a personalized email will be created in a moment and posted to the suggested outreach property on the contact record. We can easily go and do that by clicking the Continue in CRM button. And that takes us straight into the record that's being created. And we can see down here on the left that we have got a personalized email that's pulled in via OpenAI. Now that has brought in fields from the enrichment data, so it's brought in things like industry, and it's then looked up that industry against a lookup table that's in the back end, which lists pain points for the purchase of iPaaS tools in this case as an example. So this then pulls together this perfectly tailored email. It doesn't send it. Most sellers want to review anything that's been created by AI before it's sent. It could be made to do so if that was what was required. It's really just as simple, though, as taking the information, including subject line if we've got here, and then hitting email. Of course, this being HubSpot, it's already preset to send. It would be the same in Salesforce, and we can see that this email is ready to go. We can grab the subject line as well if we want to use the one that's been suggested. In this case, we will. And we can just go ahead and send that email. And the time now from submitting that form, enrichment, loading to CRM, personalized response, validation against work email, all of that's happened within just a couple of minutes, massively increasing the speed to personalized response. Everything you've just seen is built as a pre-made solution within a tool called Workato. Workato is an extremely powerful iPaaS tool, and we're using a robust microservices architecture to deploy the Lead Management Accelerator. The benefit of using an iPaaS tool, of course, is that it can connect to absolutely anything in your existing tech stack. We've made a load of pre-built connections in here, but the nice thing is that the recipe can actually be modified to work with other systems, and that's something that we'd be happy to accommodate. We'll just jump in and take a look at the main recipe in the system. As you can see, it's already built for HubSpot and for Salesforce, and we'll take a quick look at the HubSpot one. So the entire automation is built using microservices, so effectively we're calling other recipes within the tool, which are all pre-built, and we can trigger this of anything. In this case, we're triggering off a form submission in HubSpot. It just so happens that's the CMS that's being used for the website we're testing on, but this can be a web form in any CMS system. It could be LinkedIn lead gen forms. It could be webinar tools. More or less anything can be built as a trigger. It could even be a change in a property in your system or the addition of something to a list in a tool that you have. Really, anything's possible. It's just the point of sort of ingesting the data. Now we have full error handling built into the recipe, and you can see that we're calling a number of functions here. This keeps the architecture nice and clean. It allows us to build things, but also crucially to deploy custom elements within the automation for any customer. So we're validating the email, in this case in Clearbit. We could use any other tools that you're using, as long as there's a Workato connector. We can build a Workato connector, that's not a problem. We're validating whether, in this case, whether it's a work email. So we're looking up from a list of over 4,000 known free email providers. If the email is seen to be a free email, then we can just pass that straight in and not spend credits doing the personalization if that's what we want to do. Of course, the joy of doing this is it can be customized to whatever workflow you want to use. That's why we use the microservices architecture. We're then enriching that, in this case in Clearbit. Again, other tools are possible. We're pushing that to Slack. This can also be pushed to Teams, and then we're understanding whether that is accepted as a lead or indeed whether it's rejected. If it is accepted, then we are creating the sales outreach email that's being pushed to the OpenAI API connector and API platform. If the lead is rejected, we're still adding it to HubSpot. We're just not adding the AI personalized email for outreach. And say everything is kind of monitoring and pushing tickets to Jira if there are any issues with the automation. Again, if you're using a different tool to Jira, all of that's possible to connect. And that really is the joy of the entire system, is we're not adding tools. We're not asking your team to relearn new interfaces. Everything is being controlled out of the existing CRM system and from Teams or Slack, where your team are already living. And ultimately, it's me giving you that ability to add in that kind of AI optimized, AI infused kind of process that's allowing you to accelerate speed of response to leads and without needing to change anything else in the stack.